not on the super softs
Yes,
this evening. This is really turning out to be pretty spectacular potentially for them.
yeah, the Ferraris and Daniel Ricciardo. I think the big difference is that Vettel did only two flying laps with one set of tires, whereas Ricciardo and Raikkonen used two sets of soft tires to do their flying laps, and therefore it suggests that Vettel really has an advantage. But Ricciardo is there. I mean, he's fourth, and he can definitely fight for front row.
Why does it appear that the locals seem to be struggling a little bit? Romain Grosjean heads into P2 and 13.
Well, and Maldonado didn't even make it into Q2. The Lotuses are struggling. They don't quite have the peak downforce of the other cars. So on tracks like Spa and Monza, they're not really handicapped at all. But here at Singapore, they knew it was going to be a bit. It's not their favorite track. Here at Singapore, they knew it was going to be a bit. It's not their favorite track, to be honest. So I think Grosjean did a good job to get it up to 13th, actually 46.8. Put it in front of Massa and Button. Another team that seems to be really struggling is the Williams, but we talked about it earlier. You know, they've got a nice slippery car, which is good for places like Spa and Monza, but not so good for street tracks like Monaco and here in Singapore.
So it is game on between the three teams that we all anticipated and speculated on doing very well this evening: the Red Bulls, the Ferrari, as well as, of course, the Mercedes. And I suppose the question to be answered is that the teams have played catch-up to Mercedes. Is it about the tyres? We'll talk about this as we head into Q3. I think it'll be more relevant there. Don't forget, for a more comprehensive race weekend, log on to foxplayasia.com. As it says here, we've got you covered from every angle, 5 different angles, a driver on board, the pit lane channel, live timings, you name it, we've got it. Fox Play Asia, 5 different angles, a driver on board, the pit lane channel, live timings, you name it, we've got it. Foxplayasia.com is where it's at.
Guys, talking about tyre pressures, PSI has been the topic of the week here in Singapore, but it's more the pollution safety index rather than what's going into the Pirelli tyres. But do you think that can have an influence this weekend, Martin, at a circuit like this, Singapore?
The tyres are lower pressure here than in Monza anyway, because they're under much less load. By 1.5 PSI it is on the rears. It doesn't help you, if you've been setting the car up in a certain way. We're ringing it out, we're pushing their luck more than others, but it looks a lot more than a bit of tyre pressure to me.
So what to watch out for in this Q2 session? Well, I hate to put a curse on them, and I hope I'm not, but Ferrari haven't got 2 cars into Q3 on 3 occasions in the last 6 Grand Prix. I think they've got a great chance to do that today. And saving tyres as well, Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Raikkonen getting through on a soft set of tyres. Daniel Ricciardo doing the same thing for Red Bull. They've all got an extra set of super soft tyres to take into Q3, brand new sets in both of their runs. Danny Kvyat, meanwhile, has been knocked out in Q2 at the last 2 races. Well, he's got a car today to get him into Q3, it seems, and Force India hasn't reached Q3 here since Paul di Resta in 2012. No McLaren reached Q3 this season. You rather get the feeling, watching that first part of qualifying, it could be very small margins indeed between putting your feet up and having to go back out for a couple more laps.
Yeah, Ricciardo getting through, as you say, on the softs as well. So he's gone straight out on super softs this time, as Daniel Ricciardo, to see what he can magic up on those.
The Singapore skyline dominating the backdrop. Attendance very healthy as well. Fast becoming a very popular Grand Prix for fans to come to from all around the world. There are a huge amount of Australian fans here to cheer on Daniel Ricciardo. We're only 5 hours flight away from Perth, his hometown. There's a huge amount of British fans here as well. I dare say some of them enjoying the party at the sail at Marina Bay. 245 metres high if you fancy a cocktail later, Martin Brundle.
I have been up there and it frightens me. It doesn't look stable, but every year we turn up and it's still there.
It's the sprung floorboards they've got up there. You know you're up high and you're bouncing as you walk along. It's not pleasant.
And I want to jump for some reason. What's that all about? Ted's got news, I believe.
Toro Rosso, yeah, where so we're seeing this strange flip of fortune where the Mercedes-powered teams, Lotus, Force India, and Mercedes themselves, Williams to a certain extent struggling, while people who've got a hitherto underpowered, you would have thought, engine like Toro Rosso with the Renault in the back actually doing quite well. They had a bit too much on the front end, a bit too much oversteer in free practice 3, but Verstappen and Sainz just passed me in the pit lane on the super softs and are going out to show what they've got. Verstappen, I thought, Martin, you saw yesterday, was amazingly, well, committed, shall we say? Crazy, other people have called it. Karun Chandok was watching him from the side of the track and was just amazed at his commitment.
Yeah, both of those boys in the Toro Rosso always turn up to a corner on the limit of everything. What I can wait. Hit the two, is that a word you would challenge to get into the show today, Ted?
No.
Free beer?
No. It could be a free beer on top of that hotel. I'm told the prices up there on that pool bar are outrageous. I've never been up there myself, but Rachel told me last year they were quite keenly priced.
Second word then, outrageous, is it?
Yeah, the prices are as high as the altitude deserves, Ted, but I'm sure you can afford to buy us all a shandy later. When we finally do get out of here, which will be at some stage way past midnight. Everyone lives on UK time here in Singapore, which basically means we sleep for most of the day and we wake up at night time and look what we get to see. Hulkenberg and Massa on the circuit at the moment and going very nicely too. Nico Rosberg just gone purple actually for the first sector in his Mercedes. Hulkenberg goes second fastest behind Valtteri Bottas with a 1:46.4 on board now with Bottas teammate Felipe Massa. Around the final couple of corners, Hamilton goes quickest in the middle part of the circuit on 1:45.7. Takes Felipe Massa fastest so far, and immediately Hamilton goes fastest in the middle part. Daniel Ricciardo beats that by a 10, matches Lewis Hamilton, give or take a few hundredths in the first sector. Could be quite close between either of those two.
Mercedes coming alive a bit, looking at these sector times.
Rosberg lost out a couple of tenths in the middle sector, but only a couple of tenths. But when you say coming alive, then Daniel Kvyat puts in a 40.2 in the middle sector, which puts the rest of them to shame a little bit.
Hamilton goes fastest at the moment then. There's some faster drivers, faster combinations out there. Daniel Ricciardo then low 45s. These times are mighty.
Rosberg 1:45.6, only good enough for third fastest. Verstappen gets a long way over, goes fifth fastest. Kvyat goes even further over to get his fastest time. Into the 1:44s, we're already beating pole position by round about 7/10 of a second from last season. And yes, the track has been reprofiled slightly since last season, but we are getting some very, very quick times, as you said, Martin. Fernando Alonso now, what can he do in his McLaren? Fifth fastest on the grid last year, has finished in the top 5 every single year here in Singapore. In the race, goes 10th fastest. If he can stay 10th fastest, he will be very happy. A little Spanish bunny there. What about Jenson Button? Race goes 10th fastest. If he can stay 10th fastest, he will be very happy. A little Spanish bunny there. What about Jenson Button? 12th fastest for him. 2 seconds down though on Danny Kvyat. Concerned faces looking on at McLaren.
Hear your voice there in the background, Crofty.
Exactly, it was rather off-putting even for me.
It's always alarming when you're saying things about teams and you know they're listening to you, but hey, our job is to tell it the way we see it. What can Ferrari do? Only second for Raikkonen.
So have Red Bull been able to turn up the Renault engine slightly to get a little more pace? That's better from Grosjean, goes 7th fastest. Sebastian Vettel we want to be featuring in a couple of seconds. He's gone like lightning through the first sector with a 27.8. I did have a chat down. That lost Sebastian Vettel any time. set a purple sector in the middle part of that lap. Personal best, but not actually best overall. So we're looking for a time of 1:44.9 to beat. Vettel takes a wide line once again, but not too wide, and actually does beat that 1:44.9 by a couple of tenths of a second. Sebastian Vettel, Danny Kvyat, and Kimi Raikkonen and Daniel Ricciardo. It's Red Bull and Ferrari with the 4 fastest times as it stands. Ted, to you.
Little clue as to Rosberg's problem in the Mercedes. He's complaining of understeer. He's requested a bit more front flap. He says he wants to go up on the front flap just to fill people in on the PSI. The tyre pressure changes. Last year the limit was 16 PSI, 2 PSI more this year. 18 on the front, but 17, 1 more on the rear.
So it's a straight fight, isn't it? It looks like between Red Bull and Ferrari for pole position. Mercedes can't find what they need. They've not got it. They've not got the pace. They've got the pace to lock out the 3rd row, it seems. What a great job Massa and Grosjean have done yet again. They're stacking in the top 10 as well at the moment. Could be a few changes here yet.
Just from what Ted was saying there, and from what we saw yesterday with Rosberg's race run, and the degradation Lewis was picking up on his race run, I just wanted to protect those rear tyres, Martin. Are they looking... If Mercedes had to just have that understeer, to protect the rear tyres, maybe go with a 2-stop strategy for this race, because if they push too hard and go for slightly faster times on a 3-stop, they're going to lose the deg anyway, and they want to get that pit stop back again. I mean, we'll talk more about the race tomorrow, but
they're still on their back foot doing that. It's still not the optimum way to go about it. They're still managing issues that it appears Ferrari and Red Bull don't have.
Well, it's round 13 of 19. Could be unlucky for some in the Mercedes garage in terms of qualifying tonight, but it seems that the competitiveness that we've been waiting for all year round has arrived here in Singapore. It's that one there, Sebastian Vettel, is taking the fight to Mercedes in this qualifying session. Vettel with 2 victories so far this season, of course. The only non-Mercedes man to muster up a couple of wins. And it really is now or never for him in the championship. If he's to do anything, he's going to start doing it this weekend. Now 74 points off the lead in the championship, Sebastian Vettel.
Vettel's just getting himself all lined up, ready for next year. Which way he'll be pretty keen. Red Bull don't have the same engine as him.
Yeah. Who, by the way, the most stupid, pointless stat I know, because the point system has changed a lot and has increased. Send me in any tweets that say, but it's 25 points for a win this year. I know. I just thought I'd point it out.
And he's got 2 T's in his name. And,
Yeah.
anything else?
Yeah, and you could call him Vettel, not Vettel, but sorry. Old habits die hard.
Right, what's the story here then? 3 minutes to go. Presumably we're going to see some big efforts to squeeze inside this top 10.
Well, who saved me through? Vettel with a V, Kvyat with a V or a K, Raikkonen, Ricciardo, top 4 all safely through, would you think?
Yes, but will they feel the same way? Certainly 5th and 6th don't.
No. They feel they are going to have to come out again.
I think they'll go again. I think Vettel and must be feeling slightly comfortable there in the 44s. When you see this lot trooping out, you're going to be pretty nervous. The top 4 are going to be nervous sitting in the garage watching it.
You look from Hamilton with a 1:45.6 in 5th place, down to Bottas in 10th at 1:46.2. Only 0.6 of a second covering them. We go 0.8 of a second down to Hulkenberg. Alonso and Button seemingly have a lot to do.
Get me to slow down after the end of the lap immediately, please. Copy, copy.
Why would that be the case? Why would he be wanting to be told to slow down immediately?
They keep turning up in the pits with some hot-looking brakes, and I think he's asking for a reminder to slow down. I mean, the Mercs at the moment, Rosberg's just 2/10 faster than Grosjean, the same engine. And I have to say, that car looked a bit like a pogo stick on the first part of qualifying, didn't it, the Lotus?
12 braking zones around this circuit. Not much chance to cool the brakes. Temperature is hot and oppressive, and the breeze doesn't really get towards you, even if you are doing 180 miles an hour. 3 really heavy braking zones here as well. We've seen drivers in the past really suffering towards the end of a race.
PB for Bottas there in the first sector. Still 3/10 shy of Vettel's effort. I think Williams would be massively satisfied if they can get 2 cars into the top 10 shootout. Is there a wide entrance onto the bridge? Just ease it to the left, there's a little right kink, and then change of surface. Use the curve on the left to reduce the angle of the corner, and then sweep left. Difficult part of the racetrack here because you're braking and turning and downshifting all at the same time. The faithful, the nose going into the corner very faithfully there, isn't it? On the Williams, this is where they often crash. No problems this time around, and this is where you get a little bit too close to that outside wall. Get greedy on this curb, not too greedy on this one, and then it gets a bit skinny on the outside against the wall. And caution to the wind here, just throw it through here.
Just looking at his sector times, Valtteri Bottas, only 10th fastest. He's in a battle here with Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg crosses the line. That is someone who's hit the wall, Carlos Sainz, and that is going to end this qualifying session in terms of guys coming through behind him. Well, he's in the pit lane, they're still going to slow down. The yellow flags, I assume, will still be waving until he's safely into the pit lane itself. Double yellow flags waving, but there was a whole queue of cars behind Sainz wanting to go faster than Bottas.
I have to bolt. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
One of them could have been Carlos Sainz, and there's the debris that he's left behind where he has banged into the wall. Might just to save Valtteri Bottas there. Coming out of turn 19, that's where he banged it.
Long way wide, wasn't he?
On the power too soon.
Yeah, lit the rear tyres up and it just walked its way to the wall. That's how easy it is on a street circuit. That's why he was so close to the pit lane.
While he did that, his teammate Max Verstappen is in to Q3. Has got himself into Q3.
With a corker of a time.
Absolutely. And the McLarens have missed out. They didn't really get their chance to end their lap properly.
Yeah, and Alonso didn't really get going, did he?
I think he was just behind it all. Had to slow down for the double wave yellows. The Williams of Felipe Massa went straight over the debris. The fans blowing as much cold air onto Nico Rosberg's front right tire wheel as they possibly can.
With dry ice in them, you don't always see that, do you?
That's very true. On board with Fernando Alonso, misses out, as does his teammate Jenson Button, only 15th, fastest, slowest in that Q2 session. Sainz then hitting the wall. Perez and Hulkenberg, 2 Force Indians, both out. So still Singapore 2012, the last time they were in Q3 here.
It's a shame.